He was like, oh, I'm in here with my my brother and my dad. And we were like, oh, what you done? He was like, oh, we killed our mum.
What?
Just like, killed our mum. I said, what?
What'd you do after school?
Straight after school,
Mm.
I went and visited the Queen's house.
What?
The Queen's house. I went and stayed in one of her luxury palaces for a while.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
What are you on about?
What?
I went and stayed in one of the Queen's luxury palaces.
Why?
Because that's what you normally do when you go to prison. Come on. I'm trying to say it a nice way, and you two are there like, huh?
We're two fucking
We're
idiots.
just
from
going,
Norwich.
oh, he's
Like-
good friends with the Queen, is he?
Yeah, I just went and stayed in Buckingham Palace.
That's how we were
just
both
chilling with William and Harry and that. Do you know what I mean? It was like,
I think we're stupid.
Would
Yeah.
thou mind if I dashed thy chair?
yeah, because that's why it's called HMP.
Oh, Her Majesty's,
Majesty's
prison.
Prison. Come
Right.
on.
See, I'm so far removed from that life. I don't understand. I'm just a little sheltered kid from Norwich. Like, what did you do wrong? Can I ask that?
It was just getting into too much trouble and fighting from when I left school.
How long was you in there for?
2 years.
What was that like?
Um,
Is it like the movies?
no, it's nothing like that. You don't, get taken down to the potting shed or the showers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The only thing that normally happens in the showers is that's where you have your fights.
Really?
Yeah, because that's where there's no cameras. Listen, inside you've got to eat or be eaten.
Yeah. I was then going to literally say that same phrase. Yeah.
It is that ruthless. It's that simple. And the first one I went to was Feltham. And in terms of young offenders prisons, that is the most ruthless. Like,
Is that like that film? Have you seen the film? I'm Ray Winston when he's younger. I'm the daddy now. What's that?
yeah, well, the thing is with there is that it's very postcode orientated, a lot of it. So if you're an outsider, you're not from the right postcode, get put on a certain wing that you shouldn't get put on, it becomes very,
Hostile.
yeah. So, I had a fight on my first day in there.
Fucking hell.
Yeah,
See-
because you have to, because back then, like, I know prisons have changed now, but back then you used to, if you wanted to use the telephone in prison, you had phone cards and you used to have credit on them and stuff like that, and anybody could use them. The system's changed now, but what would happen is on your first day in there, people would come up to you and try and be like, let's find out, whether they're going to be a walkover, because we'll take everything off them or not. So you're on association and someone comes up to you and asks for your phone card, tell them to fuck off.
Shit.
And the thing is with prison, even if you got beaten up, no one will come near you again because they know you're not just going to take it laying down.
Really?
Yeah, they're like, no, it's too much trouble. They're not going to take it laying down. And they what they do is they go through each new person until they find the one that they get everything they want. And once they got your phone card, then they'll go after your canteen. They'll go after your tobacco. They go after your shower, toiletries, this, that, the other. And it's in a way, it's kind of like what you see now with these gangs, and they say about the olders, giving all these nice things to the youngsters to get them in, and now all of a sudden you're in their debt.
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere. You're stuck for life now because they've given you something. You're theirs.
Is that true?
And that kind of thing happens as well, because they can say, you know what, I know you need some tobacco and that. I'll give you a ½ ounce of Golden Virginia, and then you sort me out at, canteen at the weekend. You're like, oh yeah, you're clucking for they used to call it a burn inside. That's what it was known as. And then all of a sudden that ½ ounce they give you, you've now got to give an ounce back. Everything's double bubble.
Right.
So everything is doubled.
Were you scared when you got sentenced, or were you just like young, sort of, you didn't really think about it?
It was weird when it happened, because I kind of didn't believe it.
Yeah.
And kind of like, yeah, right. And then I remember getting put in the van, and it's called a sweat box. And you're in that, and it still don't kind of hit home. And then got there, you go through the whole picture process, doing everything, and it still don't hit home. And then the door shuts behind you.
And you're in the cell.
And then you're like, okay. And then that's when my mind was working out the sentence, and I'm going, and I'm trying to work out how long I've got left, what day will I get released, and it just becomes like this mental torture in your mind that you have to overcome if you want to survive.
As I just alluded to, my dad's been inside, and I think he was inside for 3 or 4 years. And we asked him this question. We got a really interesting answer. So I'm just seeing if it's yours is similar. What's the first night like in prison?
Sleepless.
Yeah.
Don't sleep. Thinking that your door's going to open. You do think of what you've seen on television. You do think of the things that, like, your door's going to open, load of boys are going to come in because the screws have just opened the door, and you're going to get roughed up. They're going to take what they want off you, bend you over the bunk beds or whatever it might be. All these thoughts, there's a million thoughts in your mind.
Of course.
And yeah, it was just weird. And then you also evaluating what you've done to be in this situation. Where did it go so wrong? Because you have nothing but time.
What was the worst thing you ever saw in there?
Someone hung themselves.
Shit.
Yeah.
And you saw that?
Yeah. We saw through cell door. Door was open. Saw everything. And he'd hung himself from one of the railings. What happened was that at this time we was in Bedford. And there was a lot of inmates that go into prison that were, like heroin addicts and stuff, and they were going cold turkey. Now inside, there were some prisons that used to give a drug called Subutex, which was like a substitute for heroin and stop their cold turkey. Bedford completely stopped it. And they were like, you've got to go cold turkey. You're not having no drugs, no nothing. So there was one guy in his cell, and he was dormed up with another guy. And we knew who the other guy was, and he was like, I'm getting no sleep. This guy is off his rocker. And he goes, I'm trying to stay awake and like keep an eye on him. He goes, he's not a bad person. He just can't handle like the come down and stuff. So a couple of days passed, and then we was on association, and all the alarms started going. And in there, when the alarms start going, everyone moves back, goes against the wall, because all the screws from the other landings are going to come flying through. And at first you think, is it a fight? What's going on? Is it in the showers or whatever it might be? And then, they literally went straight to his cell and opened the door, and we were all there like looking in.
What?
And the boy that was looking after him for a couple of days had fell asleep. He was so tired and so like worn out from trying to keep him or stay awake. He'd fell asleep. And in those minutes that he'd fell asleep, he'd hung himself.
How do you get over something like that, seeing something like that?
That's an image that I'll always have in my mind.
Mm.
I'll always have that image in my mind. It's always there. I've seen someone stabbed in prison. I've seen, some of the most like maddest stuff that you can see whilst inside. And it's just, like I said, it's dog eat dog in there. But that one was tough because he wasn't a bad person, and he was in there for the most pathetic thing. It's like shoplifting, going around and robbing just to try and feed his habit.
Yeah.
And yes, it's wrong. Yes, you wish that it wasn't like that, but
you don't know
did he deserve to die?
What's happened to that guy to lead him to do drugs in the first place? Yeah.
You've got people in there that are in for murders and stuff, and this is the thing. There were people mixed up. We was at a prison called Hollesley Bay, which is in Norfolk, ironically.
Right. Yeah.
When the new prisoners used to come in, they used to walk towards where our landing was. And then what you do is you can always hear by where the cell door shuts what side of the prison they're on. So we heard this door shut above us just to the left, and we knew that the new boy was there. So one of us shouts out the window, new boy, trying to get him to come to the window. And he's like, come along and everything. And I remember they were from Liverpool. And we were like, what are you in here for? What's happening? This, that, and the other. And he was like, I'm in here with my my brother and my dad. And we were like, oh, what you done? He was like, we killed our mum.
What?
Just like, killed our mum. What? And it was basically, the story behind it was that the mum used to beat the boys up, like literally torture them, beat them, the father, everything. And then they'd had enough. Father come up with a plan. Let's make it look like a burglary, kill her, and then we can live happily ever after. So they beat her with a hammer.
Fuck me.
Killed her, but left, like completely botched it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting that.
No. Now, having been there and seen things like that, and as you say, learnt from it, it was 20 years ago and whatnot. Have you taken a lot of lessons from that to help raise your children in a completely different way? Because my dad has always
massively.
brought me up with so many great morals, and the reason why I've never been in any serious trouble is because of what he's instilled in me. And I was wondering if that's similar to you.
It's the same thing, and it's I only have to look at my oldest boy as a guidance to the way that he goes, and he's a good boy, keeps himself to himself, keeps out of trouble, works hard. And I suppose the advantage of experiencing what I have is that I can always give them an actual lesson. Like, I've been there and done it. Because a lot of these youngsters now, they're so reckless. They're like, they don't care about their own life, so they're not going to care about yours, which is why you see so many problems with knife crime now. and a lot of them don't have somebody that can give them advice of being there. They're not going to take advice from you if you've never been there.
Mm.
You know, one of them could sit in front of you now and they'll just be like, yeah. And then as soon as they walk out the door, be like, dickhead. Because they'll be like, you've never been to prison. You don't understand it. You don't understand what it's like to grow up and be in the situation we're in. But yet with my kids, I can say to them, you don't want to go down that path.
Yeah.
That's not the path you need to be going down.
And you can hear them stories that you just say, and then that's enough to put you off for life, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah. We've yet to play Ukraine and Denmark/Czech Republic if we beat Ukraine.
You actually forgot to mention we beat Germany 2-0 and made a small girl cry.
Yeah, that happened, didn't it?